2 weeks ago, I sat with the legend that is Savage Dan, influencer, producer, boxing promoter, an all-round super nice guy. And we dive into everything from his beloved Chelsea through to all things Messi and debating what truly makes him great. We dive into his nickname, Savage. We also discuss some of his career-defining moments and how he made some really interesting decisions. Stay tuned and watch to the end.
Yes, guys, it's Savage Dan and we are at Chelsea FC. This is Savage working.
Yeah, that's what I did. Right, let's dig, because I don't want to burn all your time. So we'll dig into this. So the idea is we're doing this thing with Messi Connect, right? And we'll dive into that a little bit more. But we'll frame it because I've been doing a kind of series of videos where we find inspiring people, right, looking for their dreams, right? But you are somebody who has followed a passion, focused on it, and made that kind of dream kind of happen.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like from the outside.
Yeah.
Right?
It is,
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, so you're making a dream happen, right? And I think for a lot of people, that's really inspiring because a lot of people just end up doing the 9 to 5 and not. So I want to dig a little bit into that. We'll dig into Messi Connect, explain a bit about that because part of the reason you're here is we want to find different hosts. And being the face of Messi Connect, I think is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Going out to millions of people, that kind of stuff. So that's good as well. Yeah, so right now we've got loads of epic prizes from PlayStations with FC25, which I'm told is the new FIFA. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, FC25, right, which I'm going to learn to play. Charlie, don't laugh too much. We've got all costs paid, all expenses paid, flights, trip to into Miami to watch them play, with the tickets. So we've got those giveaway, and the top prize is actually meeting Messi himself. Now, if you want to find out how to win all of those things, watch to the end, because we're going to be telling you how to win them all. All right, okay, so let's get into the context of why you're here then, right? And I probably should ask the camera. I did ask this on the phone the other day, but
yes.
Do I call you Savage or do I call you Dan?
Call me Dan. Call me Dan. I think it's time to start almost aging out and phasing Savage out. Well, maybe not. When I'm back in the ring, I'll be Savage, but I'm Dan.
Where did that come from before we get into it?
Do you know what? It was given to me. I've had so many names over the years. Okay. And when I was really young, or not really young, but when I was like 13, I was quite chubby. So my name in the area, I'm from like just down the road, was Biggie, always for Biggie Smalls. I was like the chubby kid. And then I stretched out, obviously, and Biggie kind of didn't really fit anymore. And then I've had loads, but Savage Dan was given to me via the podcast world. But before everything was filmed.
That's a good name. It's a good name, right?
Well, I would just kind of...
Is it because it's Savage, or is it kind of like more street lingo?
It's a bit of both. It's a little bit of both, but I would just kind of not really mince my words. And as time went on and sponsors came in, I had to learn to mince them a little bit better. Okay. But it was, I would just say whatever was on my mind, and it would just upset my girlfriend and everyone else, really. That's it.
I mean, for the record, when we spoke to you on the phone the other day, right, before we kicked all this, and even now walking up in the lift and coming here, right, like, seriously, the humblest, nicest guy. And when you're like the name Savage Dan, I'm like, I was a bit worried, right? And then you meet you and you're like the nicest guy. I was like, so where's Savage come from?
There is a flip side.
Right.
There is a flip side. I'm a Gemini. So there is a whole nother guy somewhere else that will only come out on fight nights from now on, I think. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well. Okay. So, how much do you know about Messi Connect from what we said the other day? You don't have to know anything.
I know what it is to a certain degree, and I know what it can do.
Yeah.
I'm just as intrigued as everyone to see how it works.
So shall I give you a little bit of context before we dive into you? So, the idea with Messi Connect was, imagine you could sit one-on-one with Leo, right? I mean, that would be amazing. If you're a football fan, it doesn't matter if you're a fan of Leo's or not, the idea of being able to sit with one of the greatest in football of all time.
The greatest, for me.
Some people, I don't want to presume, you might have been a Ronaldo fan, but the idea was that imagine if you, even if you could just get a video of him narrating his own goal, right? That would be, you know, an instant top YouTube video. So now imagine what we've tried to create is this thing where you basically have Leo, but you can guide through the story yourself. So like one of those adventure books where you choose a direction, now he's narrating the Getafe goal, right? And he's talking to you about it, and you know, he's 19, it's his first goal for Barcelona, a massive goal. And having that moment with him explain that to you, that's what we're trying to capture for people. And that's what this gives you. So the membership in Messi Connect gives you those moments, the little bite-sized pieces that come out, and hopefully there'll be people like you, Savage Dan, hosting it and guiding people through the experience.
Yeah.
So that's it in a nutshell.
I think that's fantastic, honestly. I've always been shocked at how Messi is, for me, the greatest footballer ever. The biggest, maybe not the biggest brand in football, but definitely if he's not number one, he's number two. Yeah. And I don't even know what his voice sounds like.
Do you know what? I don't know what his voice sounds like.
No one does.
No one, because he doesn't really.
You never. He's the biggest player in the world, and he obviously he's never out to do interviews. He never does it. There is very little of him on the net other than him with a ball at his feet. So I think that this really would work.
And I think that the amount of passion people have, like even when they're talking about this project with us, they're like, this is mental. You're actually going to get Leo to talk about his goals. He's actually going to be there. You know, we've got this thing where we've got the one-to-one and his reaction to different moments that he hasn't looked at for years. And so all of those things, I think it's, you know, something really special.
Definitely.
All right, well, let's dig into actually, we're going to start with Chelsea, right? Which now, you know, part of this as well, Dan, right, is you teaching me about football because, you know, if I'm going to sit in front of Leo Messi, I think I probably should know something about football, right? And I know nothing about football. So when Johnny said to me, he said, right, he kind of met you through Chelsea and this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, is that a good thing or a bad thing? So we'll start with two questions, right?
Yes.
Now I've said you're a Chelsea fan. Does that mean that half of our audience are going to turn off?
No, because right now Chelsea are a little bit of a circus club where everyone is just waiting to see what we do. We're not performing well at the moment, but we can at any given moment perform well. We're not a threat to anyone. We don't upset anyone right now. So we've still got the fan base. Still got the Messi Connect fan base. We still keep them.
Okay, so people, if you're a Messi supporter, you might still be a Chelsea supporter too, like yourself.
And do you know what? There is a weird little bit, I wouldn't say romance, but there's something between Chelsea and Messi. Messi, for me, is best years at Barcelona. Yeah. We were their bogey team. Like in the Champions League, we would always get drawn against them. Right. Messi had a real problem with scoring against us. Eventually he did. But we were like the only team that could rival Barcelona for those years. And we did it by not playing any football at all. They would play football and we would sit there and defend and defend and defend and then rob the bank at the end of the match with a last minute goal.
So that was it like a grudge match for those?
It was a massive, maybe not to the rest of the world, but for me, I've got a Chelsea badge tattooed right there.
No way.
For me, that was the team. As soon as you draw them, you're like, ah.
What, actually for real you got a tattoo?
Yes.
Wow, that is loyalty.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That you can't swap now.
I know, and at times I look at it and
you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh no, too many porn stars. And
I think Messi and Chelsea, there is I don't know. Obviously, he has this thing with every team, I guess, that he plays against. But there'll be a special connection, I think, there between.
It's like a kind of love-hate connection.
Exactly.
A respect.
Yeah, a respect.
Okay, I like that. You are a bit of an enigma. Yeah. Right. Because, right. I don't know the right way of putting it, but you are an influencer, whatever that means, right? Influencer, right? But the last time you posted on Instagram was like 2023 or something.
Yeah,
right?
I don't post a lot at all.
I
think I did post last year.
Yeah.
Maybe. I feel like I did. Maybe it was my birthday.
But you hardly post.
I hardly post.
You hardly post, and people recognise you, and you've still got 40,000 followers.
Yeah, do you know what it is? It's like, I think people know that I'm not really going to post. My stories do well. Okay. I've got a really good engagement rate, and I'm not sure exactly why. Yeah. But it's because I guess I do what I like to do, and I've always done that. I was actually quite academic in school. Yeah. So there was a point in my life where I would have gone the more conventional, just a completely different route and a more academic route. But I am also somebody that has not the highest levels of concentration when it comes to something I don't like. Right. I won't last for long. I'm already on borrowed time. So I have to do the things that I love. And there's only a few things that I love. And I also can't do only one of those things, or I'll get bored of that as well. So I love music, boxing, and football. Those are my 3 things that if I've got nothing to do, I will look for one of those 3 things. I'll either want to play football, watch football, box, watch boxing, or create music, or listen to music like everyone. And I thought I needed a career path in all 3. And I kind of did it organically. I have music studios. I work in music every day.
And was that down to just a focus? I mean, was that just you saying, yeah, this is what I want to do, and that's what held your attention, so that's what you did?
Maybe.
Or was it an actual active choice?
It was probably a lack of focus that made me have to hone in on all 3. I would wake up when I was younger and I would do one of those 3 things, regardless of what day it was. And I would either do it for free, or I'd pay to do those things. I would pay subs to play for a football team, or I would pay. These are the things I enjoy. And I thought if I could find a way to kind of turn that into work, then everyone's a winner, or I'm definitely a winner.
Well, that's definitely living the dream, though,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of people want to go and do, let's think about it, right? A lot of people want to be a professional footballer in the Premier League, right? A lot of people want to go and make music. A lot of people want to go and become a professional sports person, right? And you found a route that is kind of itches that scratch for you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I'm still not entirely sure why I'm not a professional footballer. I think I'm gonna Actually, I did have an offer a few years ago, like 3 years ago. I had an offer from,
Was it hashtag United?
no, it wasn't hashtag. I would take PK's spot though immediately. It was FC United of Manchester.
No way.
Yeah. So it was, and I had a couple.
That's serious.
I had a couple of League 2 teams as well, but I played a decent level growing up. So I played borough football. I could always play.
Wow.
I still play now every week. As long as I'm not injured, I play every week. It's just an itch that unfortunately I have to always scratch.
But
I have to play.
The bigger thing that's taken over your life though was boxing, right? That's where you went.
Yes. Well, that was actually going to be my career.
Right.
When I look back, there was a point in my life where I was just like, there is no other thing that I'm going to do now. I will be a boxer. And then life gets in the middle of it, and all of a sudden you're not a boxer. And all of a sudden I opened a studio instead. But I already was running a studio from my flat, which I then turned into a commercial studio. I think I just pieced it together I didn't really plan it at all. And every time a plan failed or I closed the door, I would only close it to open that one, and then I'd have to come back and try and bring it all together. And right now I'm in a place where I just kind of juggle everything I love. I have pretty much no spare time because I'm doing something or the other.
Yeah, that's very cool. So, but the 2 things you're most well known for are Filthy Fellas. Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And the Misfits.
Not Misfits, no, boxing. In boxing,
Yeah.
I work for Boxer, which is not Misfits.
Right.
Misfits I'm going to go into and box in there this year.
Right.
But Boxer is a real, I hate to say the word real, but a professional sports promoter. We're on Sky Sports. Sky Sports are our broadcaster.
Right.
And we do all every big fight that's on Sky Sports, we have something to do with it, or we do it ourselves.
And so you're organising the promotion, you're putting the fight together.
Exactly.
Because you've got a couple of big ones on the go at the moment, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you can talk about it.
Yeah, we can. We can talk about, I mean, we're not lead promoters on Eubank Ben, but there's always huge fights. We have Chris Eubank Jr., who is our fighter. Yeah. And so we are heavily involved in loads of all the boxing that's happening right now. Anyone who's a fan of boxing will know that it's having a bit of a resurgence. We're getting massive fights. A lot of them are in Saudi Arabia, so I'm having to go there and come back. And there's a lot happening in the boxing world. It used to be a bit of a cold war in boxing where like that person didn't speak to that person because of it. They kept their networks, nothing mixed. And now it's all kind of come together. There's a big pot of gold in the middle and everyone's fighting for it.
And why do you think that is? Do you think that's like the fights, the massive showcase fights, or the McGregor fights?
It's actually down to one individual called Turki Al-Sheikh, who's basically come in with so much money and ambition that he's decided he wants to put on the biggest fights that were never possible. Right. They are now possible because there is enough money in there to satisfy everyone.
To get everybody to come to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I saw on your Instagram you were there with KSI, right?
That was him. That was when he thought maybe Swamp. So that was at the beginning of Misfits,
Right.
a couple of years ago, and that was, one of his fights. That was his fight night. I think he won. I think he fought 2 people in one night or something crazy like that. And this is just the stuff that when you are KSI, you can do it. You can bend the rules, and you can have your own commission come in and sort this and do that and fight him for a round and fight him for a round. It wasn't very conventional, but I'm anything boxing. I'm usually never far away from it because I am
somewhere
considered
in
the boxing guy.
In the vicinity. Okay, and that's where you make you make your money. You make your dollar, a lot of it, or
do you know what? It's actually, if it was a pie chart, I'd probably split it quite evenly. I'd say the majority is still in music.
Okay.
I work so much in music, but in what I do in music, I have a horrible habit of not screaming and shouting about it, or shouting about anything, to be fair, that I do. But still, the vast majority of stuff is producing people's podcasts, producing people's music, making it, mixing, mastering it.
amazing.
I literally.
And what kind of genre do you do? Everything.
Everything. We'll have opera in there, but then there's a lot of R&B, which is probably what we're best known for. R&B, drill, hip hop. It's weird. There's grime. It just whatever comes to me, because I'm actually I'm eclectic. I can work on anything. It helps me because then when something comes through the door, I'm not shell shocked by it.
What's the studio called?
Jukebox Studios.
Jukebox Studios.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to look it up now. That's very cool. Okay, so look, we've covered Chelsea. We've covered how you got to where you are. All of these bits and pieces. So if you went back to you, age 19. Which looking at you looks like it was 2 years ago, but actually you just said you got 3 kids and you're 34. So I don't know if I believe that or not. What advice would you give to somebody who's 19, looking at where to go, and they're like?
I would say, you have to put your blinkers on and block out all the noise that is kind of pessimistic. Right. I'm somebody that I'm really, really stubborn in what I think, and I am not so much a control freak, but if I think it's right and it's a decision that's for me, I will do whatever it takes to make that decision. But there are loads of times where if I didn't have that mentality, I wouldn't have seen something through, and I wouldn't have done it, and then it wouldn't have led to that. So I would say be quite stubborn and rigid in what you want to do, and if you're not, then you'll just be what someone else kind of wants you to be.
So kind of reframing it, have belief in your own thoughts.
That's it.
If you think that's the right path for you and you kind of looked at that's what I'm going to do.
That's it. 100%.
But that's hard though.
It is.
Because a lot of people, they're kind of like second guessing themselves all the time.
But I also think that you're allowed to just change. That decision that you make to go in that direction that you were so rigid about, you kind of still have to set like almost a little bit of a stop loss on it. Where it's like, all right, I fancy that now. And you've got to be able to make that adjustment in real time. Yes. Otherwise, you will stay on this path that you kind of know wasn't the correct one, but it was a decision you made and now I have to stick at it.
Right, it's called the sunk cost fallacy. Have you heard of that?
I've not, no.
Yeah, sunk cost fallacy is where you've put some effort into something, and then you're like, I don't really want to give up now because I put effort into it. But actually, what you're saying is, right, and anybody, like we're kind of slightly from the software world, but in that world, what you look at is like, how fast can I try something out and change? Yes. How fast can I try this out and change? And eventually you'll find the right path for you. But what a lot of people do is they go, I've done a degree in this, I've done a master's, I spent a year here, I might as well stick it out now. Yeah. And then you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you hate it.
Yeah, yeah.
And before you know it, you're 50 and you hate your life.
Exactly.
Okay, couple of questions about Messi then.
Yeah.
If you were in a room, so now I'm going to be, pretty soon sitting in a room with Leo Messi, right? And these guys have been very calm. We've been coming up with this foolproof plan so I can make the interview go well, right? Which is, first of all, drinking yerba mate, right? Which is the little tea drinky drinks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it has like a little straw and
Is it a hot drink or is it a cold drink?
It's a hot drink.
Oh, okay.
So it's from, I'm going to get it wrong again on camera. It's from Argentina. I've been saying Argentine. It's from Argentina, right? And it's South America, really, isn't it? South America. But really, like, they drink it a lot in Argentina. It's this like it looks like loose tea leaves, which is the mate, the yerba mate, and you drink it in this thing called a gourd. And you have to mix it properly, and then you have this straw called a bombilla, the straw that goes in, and then you suck it up. And we all tried it the other day, and when I tried it, I spat it out. But I'm getting there, I'm going to learn, so maybe that's the thing I'm going to ask him. And then the other thing is learning Spanish.
Yeah.
I can barely speak English, so learning Spanish has been quite tough. And the third thing is learning about football, which is partly why you're here too.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that. But if you were going to sit with Leo, what would you ask him? If what you sit there and you go, actually, I really wish I could ask him this.
Besides the obvious ones that people would probably ask him, like, what's your best goal?
Right.
I'll probably ask him what's his proudest moment.
Proudest moment.
Yeah, because he's got more than a few to pick from, but he managed to finally get the World Cup. But that World Cup was, for me, the pressure was from the people on him.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered if that is bigger than a Champions League or a et cetera.
But it feels like it was hard fought through his life, right?
Yeah.
And he is wanted that.
Yeah. But I wonder if that's his biggest, for example, my biggest Chelsea feeling isn't actually winning the Champions League. It was beating Barcelona in the semi-final to win against them to get into the final. That was the biggest ever feeling I think I've ever had. I felt my body was going to explode. So I wonder if he has something that is bigger than just a little bit off center, something that maybe people don't think. Maybe his biggest moment wasn't that.
His proudest moment in football.
Yeah.
I'll ask him for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what should I not ask Messi? If you were there, what would be the thing you would be scared of asking him?
If the human growth hormone made him a better player.
Okay, I won't ask him that. and for someone who knows nothing about football, I don't know if I can. I definitely can't ask him that.
Well, it's interesting because it's a well-known.
It is though.
That he had to get it. He had to have it to get bigger and to. But I wonder if
is that a banned
that
subject?
gave him that low center of gravity that allowed him to just drift past players. But
yeah, I mean, like even for somebody who's like literally just learning about football now, later in life, when you watch him play, he has that skill where he makes it look effortless. Yeah. You know when you watch somebody doing, I don't know, whatever, from skateboarding to whatever, and they make it look easy, and you're like, I could do that. Yeah. And then you go and stand on skateboard and you're, yeah, that's what he makes football look like. I watch him, I'm like, oh, I could do that. And then you get your football and you're like, no, I can't.
I wonder what I would also ask, what's his plans for after football? All we've ever known is him with a football at his feet. Yeah. What does he expect when he actually does retire?
Yeah, because being somebody, you're an athlete, you're driven, you've got focus.
Not really, no.
Come on, you're driven by your passion, whatever it is, right? Suddenly stopping, and that's been your life, right? Since, basically before puberty, that's been your life, and then suddenly you've got to stop. What do you do? Exactly. How do you fulfill yourself? A lot of those sports people get very depressed.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at Maradona, right?
Look at loads. It's a huge thing amongst everyone who's played a professional sport. When it is time to hang it up, it's like, what on earth am I meant to do with these days? That's why if they're not kept busy, then they can sink into depression.
And it also, not everybody's commercially minded. Yeah. Not everybody's Gary Lineker. So, okay, for someone, I don't know, like we've touched on it a couple of times, but I don't know much about football. I'm learning, right? What is the one thing I should know from the get-go?
About Messi?
About football, just in general.
It should be best practice for Messi Connect for him to be the best player of all time. Yeah. I genuinely believe he is, and most of the world, I believe that he is the best footballer ever. Okay. I think he's got like just a cerebral thing. He sees things that aren't there, or they weren't there, and then all of a sudden they are there. Yeah. It is a sixth sense, if you like, of football. So the best thing is to make sure that he knows that he is the best player of all time. Okay,
I will do that. He will know that I know. Yeah. You say about a sixth sense thing. Have you heard? Because I wonder if it's the same in boxing, right? We'll wrap it up in 2 seconds, but this is an interesting thing, right? Have you seen that thing with tennis players, right? Where basically they showed like the top tennis players. They took the top 20 tennis players in the world, right? and they showed a serve, right? And all it was the ball being chucked in the air. And the guy, and then that was it. That's all they saw. They saw the first 2 seconds of a serve, and they could tell you within a centimetre of where the ball was going to land on their side, right? And everybody's like, oh, that must be a sixth sense, because they start moving before the ball's even served. And it's how, you know, I've seen in that jacket you've been to Wimbledon, right? And so you see that because there's no way you can react that fast, right? And that's what they do. And it must be the same in boxing. You spend so much time that like a twitch behind, like, you know, a tendon here, you see that. It must be the same for him in football, right?
100%. In boxing, it is there 1,000,000%. Some people are reactive fighters, and you can, before you throw a punch, you might see a little clinch in the pectoral, and you'll see something that that lets you know something's coming. You just got to work out what that something is and where it is, and it is a sixth sense. But in football, it's a lot harder because it's not just you and one other person.
There's more moving pieces.
There is so many. There are 22 of you on this pitch, and so many things that can happen.
Yeah.
So I think having a sixth sense in football, just having that knack for knowing where that ball's going to drop, where that person's going to run, even though you haven't seen that player behind you, you know where they are. It's weird. It's like sonar. Some players just know.
And he's got it,
and
like he's got like mega sonar.
Like he has what he's got. I don't think anyone's ever had. I'm not sure who's the closest to him in terms of that. Might be like a Neymar, but just someone who just knows where everything is all the time. Yeah. If you win the ball back against Messi, it's just like the fans celebrate because it's not done often.
So Dan, on the app, right, we've got this thing where you can meet Messi. Right, actually meet him in person. That's pretty cool, right? Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty cool prize.
Yeah, it is.
So, and that's the very top prize. Other prizes are tickets to Inter Miami, right? All expenses paid, flights, hotels, everything, all the way right down to just free membership to Messi Connect, right? And we've also got PlayStations to give away. But to do that, right, you've got to do 2 things, right? One is to win the PlayStation, you've actually got to just DM me on Instagram or comment Messi on this post and we'll tell you how to do it. But to meet Messi himself, right, you've got to refer friends. Okay. So you just download the app, register, and then you just got to send your link out. In the app, you get a link, you just send it out to friends and refer as many as you can, and you might be able to meet Messi.
Easy. That's an easy way to meet Messi.
Right.
Yeah. I'll do it.
You should do it.
I will do it.